Whether this is your first time boating, or whether you consider yourself some kind of salty dog, welcome, and thanks for renting with us today. I'm Tim, and in the next few minutes I'm going to give you some information that will help keep you and your passengers safe on your boat. Over time, thanks to our Coast Guard, the rules of the water have made boating safer and more enjoyable for everyone. What you need to understand is that just like driving a car, boating has its own rules of the road to keep you and your fellow boaters safe and out of trouble. Your safety is our #1 priority, and 0 accidents for you and all your passengers needs to be your goal as well. We do what we can to provide you information, but ultimately, your safety and that of your passengers and other watercraft users is up to you. I know you're anxious to get going, so let's get started. If you are not familiar with the term negligent, it basically means you are not paying proper attention or acting responsibly while operating your boat. No matter what kind of boat you operate today, there are important rules you need to follow. These rules are designed to keep you and your passengers safe, and strictly enforced, as negligent operation of a boat can be a criminal offense. Here are just a few examples of negligent behavior. Using excessive speed in the vicinity of other boats or in dangerous waters. Failing to make sure the children on your boat are wearing a life jacket. Bow riding or riding on seat backs, gunnels, or the transom. Using hazardous water skiing tow sport practices. And here's a big one, operating a boat under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Don't take a chance with this one. If you do, you could be very sorry you tried. And if you think it's okay to get trashed on the boat today because you're just a passenger, think again. As much as 39% of all boating accidents involve alcohol, so it's quite clear that drinking and boating just don't mix. Statistics show that some form of basic negligence is the primary cause of all reported accidents. As the operator of a boat today, you are responsible to know and follow the rules. Today, if you operate your boat or allow anyone on the boat to act in a negligent fashion, you could find yourself facing severe penalties. Wearing a life jacket is the single best thing you can do to prevent drowning while boating. Almost 2 out of every 3 people who died while boating, including those who thought they were strong swimmers, drowned. Unfortunately, some of them were children who died because the parents were negligent. A Coast Guard approved life jacket must be on board for every person, and we strongly recommend that you wear it at all times while underway. Unless, of course, you are inside an enclosed cabin or the boat is tied up or anchored. With few exceptions, all children must wear the life jacket at all times. Make sure all life jackets fit properly and are zipped and clipped before you leave the dock. If you have any questions about how your life jacket should fit, just ask your boat rental company. If you will have children on your boat today, they deserve special attention, as their inexperience, size, and weight put them at a greater risk from accidents of all kinds. Again, with few exceptions, children are required to wear a life jacket at all times while boating. It's a good idea to assign a responsible adult to keep track of each child on the boat to ensure their safety. It's also a smart practice to assign each child a specific seat on the boat and make sure they are in that seat before the boat moves. Most boating accidents are collisions, where a boat runs into another boat, a rock or reef, or something else on the bottom. By law, it is your responsibility to avoid collisions. Most collisions happen as a result of excessive speed, so it's going to be much easier to avoid collisions if you're not going too fast. There are no brakes on a boat, and when you're moving fast, it takes more time and distance to slow down or stop. You must operate your boat at a speed where you can maintain control at all times. And never try to stop a boat by putting your arms or legs between the boat, another boat, or the dock. This can result in severe injuries. There are simple navigation principles that will help you avoid collisions with other boats. If another boat is coming at you head-on, you should steer to the right or starboard. If you are overtaking or passing another boat, you should pass on the left or port side of that boat. Leave plenty of room and yield to that boat. If you are crossing the path of another boat, you should yield to a boat on your right or starboard. You should also yield to all boats that are not under power, including sailboats under sail, canoes, and kayaks. You should also stay out of the way of commercial or working boats. Overall, no matter what these rules say, if there is ever the threat of a collision, it is your responsibility to slow down, steer away, or stop. A reminder also that you must display the proper lights if your boat is to be operated at night or when visibility is poor. Make sure all lights are in good working order before you leave the dock. The rental company can demonstrate proper operation of the lights. You will also be provided an emergency horn that is either installed on your boat or is handheld. 5 short blasts on the horn is the universal signal for danger or need for assistance. It is your responsibility as operator to maintain or appoint a qualified lookout, especially for larger boats. You may need a lookout both in front and behind the boat, as there may be times where you cannot clearly see everything around you, as parts of the boat or other passengers may obstruct your view. Make sure your lookouts are in place before you start the motor. The lookout must alert you to the presence of swimmers in the water, obstacles, other boats, markers, and anything else you might not be able to see. Every boat has a maximum weight and person capacity. There happens to be a good reason for this. Overloading your boat can cause it to swamp, capsize, or be very difficult to control. An uneven distribution of weight can also cause a serious situation. Make sure all people and gear are evenly and carefully organized and distributed from front to back and side to side. Improperly stowed fishing equipment, coolers, and tow sports equipment can slide about or be caught by the wind, causing a trip or slipping hazard, resulting in loss of control and falls within the boat or overboard. Again, by law, you must make sure that each person engaged in tow sports wears a properly fitted and adjusted life jacket. It takes 3 to ski is the policy of this rental company and requires that you post a lookout in addition to the boat operator to keep an eye on the person or persons being towed. The boat operator needs to pay full attention to what's out front. Always make sure that no one is anywhere near the propeller, front, or sides of the boat before you start the motor. And use a tow rope that is at least 30 feet long to help keep tow sport participants safe from carbon monoxide. When boarding a boat, follow these proper procedures. Make sure that the operator and lookout always keeps the person in view. Turn the bow of the boat toward the person in the water. Turn the motor off well before approaching the person and leave it off until the person is back safely in the boat. Keep the person away from the propeller blades. Never step on the propeller in order to re-enter the boat. Use the boarding ladder and make sure the engine is off. Finally, never allow anyone to hold onto the swim platform for a ride commonly called teak surfing or platform dragging. It is unlawful to engage in tow sports at night or when visibility is poor. And be sure to stow all tow sport gear securely when not in use. Except when operating a boat actually designed and meant to be operated while standing, it is best for everyone to remain seated whenever the boat is in motion. Slips and falls can cause serious injuries or can result in a fall overboard. If passengers must move around the boat, they should stay in contact with the boat at all times, keeping a firm grip on a rail or other solid part of the boat. Do not sit in a swiveling casting chair of a fishing or bass boat while the boat is in motion. If someone should fall overboard, Toss the person in the water a flotation device if necessary, then follow proper boarding procedures. If you happen to be the person who falls overboard, follow these procedures. First, raise your hand and yell to signal for help. When thrown a flotation device, clutch it to your chest until you are beside the boat. Then follow the proper boarding procedures. All gasoline engines and generators produce carbon monoxide, a gas that can be lethal. Carbon monoxide is odorless, colorless, and tasteless, and it can accumulate in dangerous concentrations around boats. Always turn off all internal combustion engines before going swimming or engaging in other water activities near the boat. Keep swimmers away from areas in which carbon monoxide might accumulate, even after the motor has been stopped, such as under swim platforms, near the engine, and near generator exhausts. Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning include irritated eyes, headache, nausea, weakness, and dizziness. These symptoms are often confused with seasickness, intoxication, or hangovers, so make sure to seek medical attention unless you are sure carbon monoxide is not the cause. If you experience a carbon monoxide alarm, do not ignore it. Get everyone on the boat outside into fresh air and turn off the generator and propulsion engines until the alarm goes off. All boats have an awareness zone. The awareness zone includes the front, sides, rear, and swim platform and extends 30 feet behind and all around this boat. No passenger should be in the awareness zone until the boat motor is turned off, the boat has stopped moving, the keys are removed, and you have counted to 10. The propeller on a boat can spin for several seconds after the motor is off and can cause serious or fatal injuries. That is why you count to 10. Remember that it is grossly negligent and prohibited for passengers to sit on the bow, gunnels, stern, or swim platform while the boat is moving. Pay particular attention to the awareness zone while water skiing or engaging in other water sports, and especially before starting your engine. There are proper procedures and precautions to take when you are anchoring a boat, no matter what size anchor. Always anchor in a place where you can be seen clearly by the operators of other boats. Boats are designed to be anchored from the bow, not the stern or any other part of the boat. Anchoring from the stern can cause the boat to swamp and sink. If you're anchored at night, you must turn on the anchor light, which is the white light visible all around the boat. An accidental fall into cold water can turn very dangerous very quickly. Even expert swimmers who fall into cold water may experience a sudden gasp reflex, inhale frigid water, and drown. Cold water immersion can also lead quickly to hypothermia, leaving you too numb to move or swim to safety. So what are the best things to do to avoid a dip in the cold water? Obviously, follow the basics. Carefully stow all gear and equipment to avoid slips and falls. Stay seated while the boat is in motion. Maintain a good grip on the boat if you must move about. Dress appropriately for the air and water temperature, and always wear a life jacket at all times in case you do trip over something and take a plunge. If you do fall in the water, try not to panic or struggle. This will accelerate heat loss. Draw your knees to your chest and wrap your arms across your chest, hugging your life jacket. This is what's called the heat escape lessening posture, or HELP. If there are others in the water with you, huddle together with your arms around each other to stay warm. Fire and explosions are rare, but serious, especially if you are in an enclosed boat like a houseboat. If enclosed, you must be prepared and know how to exit the enclosure in any kind of emergency, and make sure each passenger knows what to do and where to meet if there is a fire. If there is an emergency, first make sure all passengers are in life jackets and are ready to leave the boat. Only then should you attempt to put out a fire. Everyone should know where fire extinguishers are located and how to use them. You should also know how to use all electrical appliances on your boat and never use a generator that is not supplied as part of this rental package. You should always be aware of your local navigation hazards and laws. There will be specific hazards that differ from state to state, such as shallow water, submerged objects, currents, and weather conditions. Note that it is always illegal to tie to any navigational aid or buoy other than a mooring buoy. Ask your boat rental company to explain any hazards that may exist. As the operator of a boat, it is again your responsibility to familiarize yourself with federal, state, and local regulations concerning litter and pollution, and then to comply with them. Littering can carry some stiff penalties, so keep it all inside the boat. The rule is, boat it in, boat it out, leave nothing behind. Do not litter. A tiller-steered fishing boat is one that is operated in the back or stern of the boat directly at the engine itself. The throttle function controls of the tiller-steered engine are located on what is called the tiller arm. After starting the engine with the retractable starter cord, you will control the speed and steering directly from the handle on the tiller arm. The forward, neutral, and reversed shift control is located on the side of the engine, or tiller arm. Always start the engine in neutral and make sure to put the engine into gear when the engine is in the proper idle position on the handle. As with any other boat, never stand up while operating a tiller-steered engine. Since the speed controls are on the tiller arm, it is possible to cause an abrupt and dangerous change of speed while turning. And if you slow down or turn too quickly, you may cause a wave to enter the rear of the boat, causing it to swamp or capsize. Also, if you are carrying passengers, any abrupt steering movement may cause them to be thrown overboard. It is vitally important you do not make rapid movements with this tiller arm at any speed. The tiller-steered engine may be operated in a tilt position in shallow waters. Do not run the engine while attempting to clean the prop if it is completely tilted out of the water. This can cause serious injury to your body parts and damage to the engine itself. Basically, a wheel-steered boat means that the engine and boat functions are controlled away from the engine itself on a separate console. This console can be on the right, left, or center of the boat. Usually, the wheel-steered fishing boat has the console located more in the middle of the boat or on the starboard or right side. Remember, you must follow all general rules and regulations when operating this type of boat, but specific caution should be taken when using boats for fishing, as more movement on the boat is often necessary and more hazards do exist. Besides being careful where you cast, so you don't put a hook into someone's eye, there are generally more trip hazards on the boat to watch out for, and passengers must be very careful moving about the boat while casting, trolling, setting or pulling up an anchor, or leaning over or handling a net to land a fish. If you are renting a boat capable of carrying between 4 and 8 people, and one well suited for moving quickly across the water, you've probably rented what's called a runabout. Some common runabout boats are the bow rider, center console, cuddy, and walkaround. The most obvious concern of these boats is their power and speed capabilities. Turning too quickly at high speeds, encountering another boat's wake, or not being able to stop quickly enough are all recipes for all sorts of disasters. Caution must be used at all times when operating these boats, especially when engaged in tow sports, including water skiing, tubing, and wakeboarding. You've already heard the rules of towing earlier in this video. Let's make sure you follow them. Pontoon boats are probably the most popular style for rental operations on freshwater waterways. They are also a great home base for swimming, sunbathing, fishing, and other recreational activities on a hot summer afternoon. Pontoon boats also have their own set of unique hazards. Along with all the other rules of the road, make sure you follow certain safety cautions you wouldn't normally consider on a conventional boat. Never allow a passenger to ride on the platform at the front of the boat, as a slip and fall between the pontoons will funnel them directly into the engine. Because there are typically more passengers on a pontoon boat, take the time to do a periodic head count. Always stay seated while the boat is in motion. Make sure you minimize all trip hazards. Never start the engine until everyone is accounted for, and post a lookout to make sure everyone is clear of the engine. Do not exceed the total weight or person capacity of your boat. Always make sure to anchor where the water is deep enough to safely dive. Finally, never jump or dive from a moving boat. The pontoon boat offers an extremely fun and adventurous day. Practice safety so you'll be around for the next excursion. Houseboating can be a tremendous amount of fun, but here are just a few things to watch out for while houseboating. Always make sure to take a head count and post lookouts before starting the motor. Especially with houseboats or cabin-style boats, visibility can be limited, and care should be taken to post lookouts at the front, the rear, or both. The houseboat does not turn quickly, so don't operate at unsafe speeds or where you are not familiar with how to maneuver safely. The houseboat is also very heavy and can do some serious damage even at